What's up, my friends? Welcome back to the Whoop Clinic. I have a few patients and news items lined up here for you, and I'm going to report on their issues and their progress, and at the end of the video there will be a shiny surprise. So let's get to it. Patient number one is the Inductrix FPV Plus. Flies pretty fast and pretty long, getting flight times of more than 5 minutes. But the frame is brittle in, typical Inductrix blade fashion. And there's a new anti-feature, which is the props fly off very easy. One of my quads, I put the battery in, first punch out, and pew! 2 props fly off. Ridiculous. Pew! Pew! Also, the acro mode is weird. The altitude hold mode should be called bobbing mode. And the angle mode, well, that kind of works, even though it's limited, so you're not going anywhere fast, but upwards. So yeah, all in all, not so happy with it, especially because of the props. Pew! So I thought, let's see what we can do about it. And I'm introducing to you the Inductrix FPV Plus. I added some welder's glue as recommended by Mr. Jesse P. Tiny Whoop to the frame. That works all right. This one crashed quite a few times, but the glue holds it all in. I replaced the props with some of the, I think from the Tiny 7 it was, same as the Beta 75 and the King Kong 7 props, 1 mil hub and 40 millimeter diameter, only 3 blades, so they have a little less power than the original props, but they don't fly off. Pew! Also, I replaced the flight controller with a Beta FPV F3 OSD board, and to make use of the OSD I installed a VM275 camera. I hacked the canopy a little bit to make the camera fit, but in hindsight I should have just filed off a little edge of the PCB where the camera solders to. Then it would have fit into the original mount. Pretty neat, actually. Then because the original board has reversed motor polarity to the industrial standard, I have also replaced the motors with 820-14 motors, which have the regular polarity. A little more power, I think, than the stock motors, but not too much of a difference. And then I'm flying this with my LiPo 600 milliamp batteries for even more flight time. So I'm getting upwards of 6 minutes with this thing. Getting almost nervous. I don't have to land for 6 minutes. Yeah, pretty nice actually in this shape, even though these props have more power. So wouldn't it be great if you would have props in the shape and with the efficiency and power of the Inductrix FPV Plus, but they would actually have a usable hub, so they would stick on 1 millimeter shafts? That would be great. If there are any Chinese manufacturers watching, hint, hint, pew. Yeah, so that's so far. It's all right, but I'm not so happy with it. Pew. Let's move our way forward into the emotional valley of this episode. The next patient is also a pretty sad one. This here is the MicroHeli molded full carbon fiber frame version motor 7mm. That's what it says on the package. It also says performance in style. So I agree, it's pretty stylish. Looks very nice. Molded carbon fiber, very stiff, quite lightweight too, really nice. But then when I installed the motor cups, you press these cups into the frame and then they're supposed to hold in here. But as soon as you push them in, on 2 of the 3 that I put in, the carbon fiber delaminated here at the bottom, so the mounts sit in really loose. I mean, it probably gets, I assume, a little better when you then install the motors. But really, $40 for this 5-gram piece of carbon fiber, and then it delaminates before I even get to fly it. Yeah, not very happy. It's probably gonna make a nice shelf queen though. Pew! Yeah, so here are 2 more happy items in there. Let's park them here while I get to the saddest item of today's episode, which is hiding in this little box here, and it is the RunCam Nano. You know, when this thing arrived here, and by the way, I'm not getting any stuff sent for free. I paid with my own hard-earned money for this. Bought 4 of them. So when this thing arrived here and I realized it's going to fit on a whoop and it's light enough to be carried, I was like, RunCam reggae. But yeah, I had a bit bad luck of trying to put it together. I tried to make like an all-in-one version, and yeah, I had some issues with this TX, and then I finally made a complete hoopling and it all worked, but the receiver on the flight controller has some issues on this board. So yeah, I tried the 3rd time and yay, success. I put this thing together and it works okay. But when I started to fly this around, my initial excitement about the camera quality wore off pretty quickly because yeah, even though it has some better contrast, especially in the dark areas of the image, and it seems a little sharper across the board, there's 2 main issues. Number 1 is the lens distortion is much more pronounced than on your regular whoop camera. So that already makes you feel, especially when you're yawing, like you are flying through a fish glass. And the bigger issue is when you point it towards a light source, this makes the whole rest of the image kind of blurry. It's really weird. How to describe? Somewhat different than the contrast issues that we usually have on these small cameras. Yeah, so much so that I don't really enjoy flying it. So I might make a comparison video at some stage if enough of you guys keep asking. But yeah, so far just my opinion on this. Me. So yeah, this was the, as I said, the emotional valley of the episode. From now, there will only be happy items and we'll go straight upwards from here. So yeah, let's start with some slightly good news. Look at this case here. Really sturdy case with a pre-cut piece of foam for 2 whoops and a big bunch of batteries in here. Pretty low cost as well. I think somewhere around $40–50. So yeah, I'm thinking about selling my BNFs in these boxes and maybe even stocking them separately. So if you're keen on one of these boxes, leave me a comment in the comment section below the video. There also is this one here, which is even lower cost. I think it's around $20. Same foam inside, same space inside, 2 whoops, lots of batteries, just yeah, lighter, flexible, and yeah, even cheaper. So yeah, that's already pretty good, but I have some even more exciting items. These ones here are LEDs that I got from Tiny Whoop, and I tested quite a few different LEDs. These are really bright and really light. They also get really hot, so don't fix them with hot glue, but I use silicone to glue them to the frame. Maybe I'm doing it wrong. Jesse, tell me, should I connect a resistor in parallel, or can I just, as I do, connect them straight in parallel to the battery? I mean, they're so bright that even in sunlight, if you look into them, you have a patch in your eye for a couple of minutes. But yeah, they also go pretty hot, so I'm a little worried that they burn out when doing this. So yeah, tell me, should I connect them in parallel to the battery? Um, and next happy item on the list is this here, a TS100 soldering iron. I mean, in general I like stuff where I can flash firmware too, but yeah, this thing is awesome. It's super light and small, comes just like that. You need to provide your own power supply, which can be a 3 to 6S battery or a 12 to 24 volt power supply. And if you give it 24 volts, it heats up really fast. So turn it on and like 5 seconds later, it's at 300-400 degrees. It also heats up only the tip. So you can actually touch it here for a couple of minutes while it's running, and you're not going to burn your fingers. There's a microchip, a PID controller, and a motion sensor in there. So, and I flashed a open source firmware of some dude on it, so it added some extra nifty feature. But even just out of the box, it's pretty darn good. You can configure the timeout, at what point it settles down to a set low temperature. You can then pick it up again, and within 3 seconds it heats up to the temperature you've configured. And then you can press this button here and it heats up to a boost temperature, which you can also separately configure. And yeah, it just works really nice. Played with this thing for a couple of days and then took all the other soldering irons off my desk. Not going to talk too much longer about it. There's some good reviews on this thing on YouTube. Check them out. For $50, this thing is really awesome. So yeah, that have been my my news items for this episode. Let's come to the shiny surprise. Now, a while ago, I got sent a few nice canopies of our Tiny Whoop canopy artist, Mr. Eddie P. Canopy, and yeah, that inspired me to build the Shiny Whoop. It has shiny props, shiny canopy, and a shiny frame. You can only really appreciate this by looking at it in person and in sunlight. It's crazy how the colors on this thing change. Inside there's a B-Brain version 1.2 running Betaflight 3.0.1 with legacy PID controller, and under the canopy is a FX805 camera, modded by Tiny Whoop and with their 3D printed mount, so it fits in there really nice and slim. And yeah, these electronics kind of combine the best of both worlds. The good old legacy PID controller, which allows you to fly some really aggressive angle mode, and the OSD of this camera here, which shows you runtime and voltage. Really nice. But yeah, it's too pretty for me. I've flown a few packs around the yard carefully with this thing and admired it a little bit, and then decided it's too pretty for me. So we're going to make another micromotor ruffle number 3. If you want to win this thing, click the link in the video description and chuck a couple of bucks in my ruffle jar. And 1 week after publishing this video, I will draw a winner out of all the tickets. If you buy multiple tickets, your chances will increase. Good luck, thanks for watching, and see you next time.